So there's this dude that consistently pops up on the r/xjw subreddit. I figured I'd cover it just because, it's kind of interesting. Give some context and kind of a glimpse into what it's like growing up as a Jehovah's Witness or what it's like being a Jehovah's Witness. And, he seems like he wants his video out there, so why not, right? Weird cult in grade school.
Let's see what else. Grade school was an absolute nightmare. You can't do the Pledge of Allegiance. And a quick side note, the Pledge of Allegiance is just like a super culty thing. I pledge my full allegiance to this flag. No.
Yeah, the pledge is really weird, right? And for the record, they used to do that little hand gesture when they said the pledge, for real. They changed it because of its association with Nazis later. I think it was in the 40s.
No, not that. But yeah, the already weird kid at school starts out every day as a traitor to America. This is a nice way of signaling at the start of the day which one of us is going to get a beating at recess.
Yeah, a lot of people in school could relate to you in other ways. Jews don't celebrate Christmas or whatever. There are a billion different little things that you do that other groups also do or whatever. But saying the pledge, Jehovah's Witnesses are about the only group in the U.S., pretty much, whose kids do not say the pledge. And it definitely sets you apart from everybody else. Not fun.
Let's see, what other nonsense was there? So you guys probably know holidays, of course. But something you may not know is that whenever there was like a Christmas party or a Halloween party at school, you get to go sit alone in the next classroom, like a sad little exile. And the poor teacher, she just, has this soft, haunted look in her eyes. Like, I know, kid, this is super f***ed up.
Yeah, they didn't really do that with me. I mean, they didn't look at me like it was super f***ed up. They put me in a classroom over. It was a time when they were doing Valentine's cards or whatever, passing Valentine's around. Everyone gets one. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't, make the little pouch on the side of my desk. I couldn't make the Valentines for people and all of that. I couldn't do it. How f***ed up is that, right? And for what? Who benefited? How did I benefit from that in any way, shape, or form? Why did they put me through that? Why do they put others through that on a daily basis?
But my hands are tied, and your mom is kind of a lot. Let's see, what other nonsense was there? I remember being a little kid and really going up to other kids and go, hey, let me tell you a little bit about my religion. Yeah, it's so super cool. Oh, you're punching me now. Oh, that makes sense. And then I remember.
Yeah, you're supposed to treat it as your territory. You talk about Jehovah in your little, your little territory, your classroom there, because some of those kids are, for example, behind gated communities that Jehovah's Witnesses will never have access to, and you might be their only way to hear the good news. And if they don't hear the good news and they die, then you are guilty of murder. Really.
And then I remember thinking, oh, they're persecuting me. This is just like Jesus. This must mean I'm doing the right thing. He got her pretty bad too. So I guess me and Jesus, pretty.
Yeah, totally. They definitely try to instill that into your head.
Pretty tight. It was something I was going to tell you guys. It was so important. What was the thing we were going to tell them about? Oh, yeah. They will come down so hard on you for eating Halloween candy, but not so much for the files that gave it to you.
That's good. I appreciate that. That's pretty funny. The more you learn, the less you want to. I like that. It's pretty on point. Jehovah's Witnesses don't have this unique problem where there are a bunch of people that take advantage of kids in their ranks. That's, it roughly aligns with the rest of society, somewhere around 3 to 5%, I think. It's just they protect them. They protect them from prosecution. Okay, Jehovah's Witnesses have this rule where they can't treat this as something that's real. They can't assume that something nefarious happened unless 2 witnesses or 2 victims come forward. So in the 90s particularly, and later than that, there were a bunch of people taking advantage of the rule by abusing a kid, and when the kid reports it, they would leave and go to another congregation. And the elders in their last one can't say a thing because there was only 1 witness or victim. In their new congregation, they abuse a kid. When they're accused, go to the next one. And this went on for literal years. That's why Hundreds of millions of dollars have been awarded to victims of Jehovah's Witnesses. God, negligence doesn't even touch it. Like intentional order not to report it to the police. They were ordered not to report it to the police from the 60s onward. Finally, that rule changed. They are allowed to report it to the police if they choose. Well, actually, the Elder's Handbook says the parent has the right to call the police if they choose. There will be no consequences for doing so one way or another. That was just updated in, I think, 2019. So Jehovah's Witnesses, for some backward reason, refuse to just come out and report people to the police when they do something wrong. They did, however, change the rules basically to be such that you have to call the branch office and report somebody if they've been accused. And the branch office will keep a record of the accusations so that they can't move from Kingdom Hall to Kingdom Hall like that anymore. So that's something, I suppose. Just call the fucking police. Why are you not calling the fucking police? I don't understand. The Elder's Manual explicitly says 2 elders from the congregation should go to the police precinct and form, strong relationships with them, befriend them, get to know them, and make a plan in case there's like an active shooter situation or there's a fire or there's a whatever. You are familiar with the police there. But not if there's somebody abusing children in the congregation. Why? Why leave the cops out of it completely in that one case? In my opinion, it's because there was a ridiculously obvious oversight, the 2-witness rule, a loophole that could clearly be exploited, and they were embarrassed by that and just refused to change it after that because of how embarrassed they were. Anyway, they have a problem with people eating Halloween candy, not the people that give it to you. That's the point. Anyway, check this clip out.
When we leave the cult, the only thing that we really want to take with us is our family. But now the relationship, of course, is strained. Best case scenario, you just agree never to talk about that. They don't tell you about the witnesses, you didn't mention the party you went to, the partner you're living with, or anything else that brings you joy in your life that you want to share. More commonly, visits with the folks involve proselytizing, passive-aggressively noting their disapproval, and
Yeah, you know what it feels like to visit family that's Jehovah's Witness when you're not? I periodically did that over the years. Like once a year I'd come over to my parents' house for something, and I hadn't seen them in so long, and I knew there was like an undertone of everything said of all of it just being there. There was like an undertone of disgust. Like they didn't want to hug me for fear it would rub off on them. I was dirty. That's how they view outsiders. That's how I viewed outsiders, as dirty. They really nailed it when they programmed that into people, didn't they? To make them feel like outsiders are dirty. That's really impressive when you think about it, how much they've succeeded in brainwashing people to view others that way. Anyway, he says passively, aggressively noting their disapproval. I don't think that goes quite far enough. It's more than just disapproval. It's disgust.
And basically just treating you like the spiritual piece of shit they see you as. Worst case scenario, shunning. Except when those motherfuckers need something. Unshun. And of course, you show up like a good son or daughter, hoping that maybe if you try hard enough, they'll see your heart and meet you halfway. But of course, when they don't need you anymore, they discard you, leaving you with a whole set of fresh new wounds.
Yep, 100%. Exactly right. That's why, because those fresh new wounds, that's why I said I would never talk to my mom again, ever. I'm not going to try anymore. I'm not going to meet her halfway when she's suddenly cool with me again after 3 years of not talking to me or whatever. I'm done with it. I don't want those new wounds anymore. Years pass, maybe 5 years. I'm not sure. Maybe not quite that long. Long time. And she was desperate to talk to me. This is just 6 months ago, maybe, or a year ago. I'm not sure. She really wanted to talk to me. And I was like, all right, well, you know what? I told her I didn't want to talk to her ever again until the day she dies. But she's really putting in effort here. So I went downstairs at my apartment and I met her, and I just sat there with her and we talked for a while. Again, about 6 months ago. And now she's shunning me again. Exactly why I told her I wouldn't talk to her again until she was in a coffin. She's doing it again. It was foolish of me to open the door in the first place. Anyway, yeah, this guy is absolutely correct. Fresh new wounds.
Leaving you with a whole set of fresh new wounds. Unchun. 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 The metric for a healthy relationship is the degree to which it brings you joy. So I ask you, what percentage of those visits do you walk away feeling filled with joy? Pretty much done. I would assume there are moments of genuine connection. But you have to ask, do those rare breadcrumb moments actually justify the cost of therapy?
No, absolutely not. That is one thing Jehovah's Witnesses do well, though, is building community. They're really good at making people feel welcome and working together and everything else. But that's just about the only thing they do right, and you can get that anywhere. You can go to any church. It doesn't have to be Jehovah's Witnesses. Hell, you don't have to go to churches. You can go to any club or any whatever. Why was your mom so desperate to talk to you? Because she felt like, because she's older and she feels like she f***ed up. When I told her I didn't want to see her again until she was in a coffin, that clicked something in her mind, I guess. She said, "Oh, I don't want to lose my kids and all that." And years later, I told my kid that she should talk to my mom because they weren't on speaking terms. I said, "You should talk to grandma if you want to, because she won't be around forever and you may not have that opportunity." Because I remembered, I wish that I'd talked to my dad before he died, you know. And so my kid messages my mom and they get to talking. And my mom is like desperate to like create a relationship with me again after all these years because she suddenly felt like she messed up. I should have just left it. I don't know why I didn't. Shouldn't have given her another chance, as though she hadn't to me over 16 trillion times previously. Called me repulsive to her and all kinds of other Why did I even bother? Part of your psychology, I guess. Trying to connect with family even when they don't want you, you know? This is what the religion does to people. This is completely unnecessary. This is fabricated pain that only exists because they brainwashed my mom.
If not, then it's totally okay for you to stop trying. Not because you failed, but because you love yourself. Too much to keep reaching for somebody who doesn't reach back.
Yeah, 100%. Don't keep reaching for somebody who doesn't reach back. Absolutely. Just let it fade. Just let it fade away. They view you as repulsive. They view you as disgusting. Let them sit in their little corner and feel that way. I learned that the hard way. It is not worth the mental anguish that you have to deal with every few months when they suddenly decide they want to have a relationship with you again and then yank the rug out from under you again. Anyway, interesting videos. I appreciate this dude. I wish that I see if I can figure out who he is. I'm not actually sure who he is. I'm not seeing it in the video. Yeah, I'm sorry. I would direct people to you, but I don't know who it is if you're watching me right now. Anyway, yeah. Tell me what you think in the comments. Tell me if you have also had this exact experience as me. I'd be willing to bet a weird number of people have.